2 o'clock in the morning right now. We just heard some gunshots go off.
Creepy, weird feelings at a camp before, and I'm sure it's just my mind playing tricks on me. Holy sh!
Tonight, we look at 6 disturbing camping encounters caught on camera. Real moments, real danger. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying footage like this. Let's begin. This disturbing footage comes from Taylor Van Beek, a creator known for sharing his truck camping lifestyle, casual travel routines, and van life experiences with his dog, Lola. On May 21st, 2022, what started as a peaceful evening quickly turned into something far more unsettling. After spending the day outdoors, Taylor prepares a fresh meal inside his mobile setup, shares a few moments with Lola, whom he always ensures is well-fed and comfortable, and settles down to stream a few travel vlogs before bed. Everything appears calm, his setup organized with the kind of self-sufficiency typical of solo van lifers who rely on compact living essentials and efficient routines.
Now that everything's pretty much cooked, we're gonna go ahead and take our taco seasoning mix, a little bit of water, and we're gonna pour it right on this mixture. So now that we've got all this meat mixed up right here, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna set this to the side. Gonna take our small pan we've got, and we're gonna go ahead and warm up our tortillas. Got the tortillas all warmed up, and it's time to make these bad boys. And this, my ladies and gents, is how you make the most amazing, perfect taco. Oh my gosh. It came out perfect. Just call me Chef Wonderful. Chef Taylor. Chef Tate.
Are you hungry, Lola? You hungry?
Well, I got some food.
I got some food for you.
Oh, she's gonna love this.
There you go. Is it yummy? Is it yummy?
Got everything all cleaned up. We're gonna go ahead and chill inside for a little bit, watch a little bit of YouTube on the old laptop before we hit this.
Later that night, around 2:30 a.m., Taylor is jolted awake by the unmistakable sound of gunfire nearby. It's a moment that would rattle even the most seasoned solo traveler. Recognizing the potential danger and knowing how vulnerable truck camping can be in unfamiliar areas, he quickly abandons his vehicle and moves into the house he's temporarily staying at, a space equipped with a smart security system.
The sheets. What do you want, crackhead?
What do you want?
Hello. Now, another favorite YouTube channel of mine is called Kara and Nate. If you guys have not checked them out, they are an awesome couple that travel the world. Got some pretty cool content.
I'm a senior in college, could finish, or do I drop out and move to New York? I was a senior.
So we're gonna go ahead and hit the sheets for the night. Me and Lola are going fishing tomorrow. Just gonna let them hang out in the crib while I get the bed to myself. We are hitting the sheets. I will see y'all in the morning. Good night.
I don't know what the heck's going on, but I think I just heard some gunshots right outside my truck. I'm gonna go ahead and get in the house because I'm kind of freaked out right now. Oh.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning right now. We just heard some gunshots go off. I don't know what the heck's going on. And I have not seen any cops show up, so I don't know if those were actually gunshots that went off, but I think we're gonna go ahead and just fall asleep on the couch inside this house, and I will see you guys in the morning. So I just got a text from my buddy, the one that I'm house sitting for. He was asking if I was all right. I guess he got an alert. Forgot. He's got Ring cameras. The other one right there. I guess he got an alert because a loud noise went off, and when he looked back at the footage, there were gunshots that went off. footage that came from that general vicinity. It's crazy. According to that ring footage, the cops never showed up, which is nuts. I think it's safe to say I will never house sit for my buddy again. A little too sketchy.
The next morning, Taylor receives a message from the homeowner. Their Ring security camera had picked up the loud sounds from the night before, confirming that actual gunshots had been fired nearby. The footage even captured voices yelling just moments before the shots were heard. Yet strangely, no law enforcement ever responded. It's a chilling scenario that underscores how unpredictable things can get, even in what seem like quiet suburban or rural areas. While van life offers freedom, it also demands awareness, especially when it comes to personal safety and situational preparedness. The fact that the security footage verified the shots, yet no police showed up, raises serious concerns. Was it a local altercation that went unreported? Or something more organized that flew under the radar? It's a reminder that having tools like ring cameras, dash cams, or personal safety gear can make a real difference in van life or car camping situations. What if Taylor hadn't woken up in time? Or if the shots had been directed toward a vehicle like his? These scenarios highlight just how fast a quiet night on the road can shift into something dangerous. Hold on a sec. If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's continue. The footage comes from Nowhere Bound, a YouTube channel centered around off-grid travel and peaceful nature escapes. Accompanied by his dog, Juniper, the creator often ventures deep into the wilderness to experience the solitude and stillness the outdoors provide. On one particular trip, however, things took an unexpectedly unsettling turn. It began like many of his other adventures. He selected what appeared to be a quiet spot to set up camp. As he surveyed the terrain, he noted that the area behind his site showed clear signs of flooding, with debris piled high against nearby trees. It was an observation that added to the rugged charm of the location.
So this is the whole area behind our campsite, and you could kind of tell that it is a flood area. I mean, when the stream is high, all this debris is piling up on the trees.
As night approached, though, the tone began to shift. Across from his campsite stood an aged and looming structure, an old building that gave off a strange presence. Not long after, another group of campers who had been stationed nearby mysteriously left, leaving their tent and supplies still in place.
It's getting very dark, as you can see. I'm camping right across the street from that building. The people who were camping just left, but their tent and everything is still set up down there, so I don't know what's going on with them. They may return.
Their absence, combined with the fading daylight, created a sense of growing discomfort.
Gotta be honest, I'm a little creeped out right now. And this is the first time this has ever happened to me camping. I don't know if...
The fire wouldn't take. The air felt unusually still, and Juniper, typically calm, seemed restless. As darkness settled in, the ambiance of the place began to wear on the creator more than he expected. A series of unfamiliar animal calls and the repeated cry of whippoorwills, birds he rarely heard, only deepened the atmosphere of unease.
It's the building, or the quiet, or that Juniper is just restless. Once in a while I hear strange animal noises that I've never heard before. I think they're frogs. There's multiple whippoorwills, and I don't hear whippoorwills very often.
He ultimately decided to forego dinner and retreat into his camper, admitting to feeling a sense of creepiness he had never encountered on his travels.
So, I think I'm just gonna have a snack and call it a night. And I usually don't get creeped out, but we're gonna just get in the camper, hunker down, try to get Juniper to settle down, and I'll talk to you when we get in there. But I have a question for you.
While he attempted to relax by watching a movie with the blinds drawn, the close proximity of the building across the way lingered in his mind. It was the kind of place, he reflected, that looked like it belonged in a ghost story.
This is definitely a new thing for me. I've never had creepy, weird feelings at a camp before, and I'm sure it's just my mind playing tricks on me. But it definitely looks like the kind of building that could have a poltergeist in it, and it's...
The night passed slowly. Sleep came in short bursts, and the quiet pressed in heavier than usual. By morning, The mood had lifted somewhat with the return of sunlight. Despite the rough night, he admitted that things had turned out fine.
Well, it's been kind of a rough morning. Besides the lack of sleep and
He even expressed interest in returning to the Ring Mill campground in Wayne National Forest, suggesting that the unease may have simply come from being alone in an unfamiliar place.
Here at Ring Mill campground in the Wayne National Forest, it was a little spooky at first, but it turned out to be okay. We'll definitely come back.
Still, the mystery of the nearby abandoned tent, the strange behavior of Juniper, and the presence of the building all left lingering questions. The source of the discomfort remains unclear. Was it the eerie building, the sudden disappearance of nearby campers, or simply the psychological effects of isolation in the woods? Even seasoned travelers can be affected by subtle environmental cues, especially when camping alone. Could something have happened at that site previously? Something that left an imprint on the place itself? Or was it all just an overactive imagination fueled by the quiet and shadows? One thing's certain, some places unsettle you not because of what you see, but because of what you feel. Roughly a year ago, a chilling video surfaced on a lesser-known TikTok account dedicated to eerie folklore, particularly legends surrounding Wendigos and other cryptid entities said to dwell deep in the woods. Although the channel had shared similarly themed content in the past, this particular clip drew more attention due to how genuinely disturbing it was. The video, ominously titled Wendigo Encounter, quickly gained traction for being far more intense and unnerving than anything the account had previously posted. It begins with a man and his dog sheltering inside a remote cabin, seemingly attempting to detect a strange presence lurking just outside. Using a laser pointer aimed through the window, he tries to catch movement in the darkness. What unfolds next would leave even the most skeptical viewers rattled.
There's a couple, for sure. Hey, watch them. Look, this shit's crazy. Where the heck is it? I can't see it. Hey, knock it off. They're everywhere. You guys hear it? 12 o'clock. Watch them, bros. Watch them.
Sounds of movement can be heard, footsteps or something heavier, scraping across the roof. The noise builds, as if something is crawling overhead, followed by the unmistakable creaking of a door being disturbed. Then come the rattling windows, shaken from the outside by an unseen force. The structure seems to groan under the weight of whatever is circling it. Legends describe the Wendigo as a shape-shifting entity that haunts the northern forests. In this footage, it appears as though whatever is outside is trying to breach the cabin, fully aware that someone is hiding within. The intensity of the scene is overwhelming, capturing the man's genuine panic as he scrambles to make sense of what's happening. There's no sign of other people, no indication that this was a prank or staged event. What's seen, and more importantly, what's heard, feels dangerously real. Some argue the video could be part of a well-produced hoax, but certain elements, like the pacing of the sounds, the timing of the dog's reactions, and the chaos outside, make it difficult to dismiss entirely. If this wasn't a Wendigo, what kind of predator or intruder could cause that level of terror and damage without ever being seen? Was this an authentic encounter with something unknown, or just a masterclass in psychological manipulation? And if it was real, how close did he come to something far more dangerous than folklore suggests? Either way, it's the kind of night that could make anyone think twice before camping alone in the woods again. Tommy, the creator behind the YouTube channel Tommy Dale, is known for documenting forgotten trails and remote historical landmarks. His videos highlight places long abandoned and reclaimed by nature, decaying cabins, faded roads, and the lost remnants of another time. His explorations often blend adventure with solitude, offering a glimpse into the past. But one particular journey would reveal just how unpredictable such trips can become.
Long before satellites watched from space, or helicopters scanned the ridge lines, there were fire towers. Built by hand in the early 1900s, fire lookouts rose from the mountaintops across America. I recently heard of one pitched high on the mountains, abandoned, and left to stand the test of time.
On this outing, Tommy set his sights on locating an abandoned fire lookout tower, an early 20th century structure perched somewhere deep in the mountains. Long before satellite surveillance or aerial patrols, such towers were built by hand to monitor wildfires across remote terrain.
Eager to find out, I wasted no time, racing deep into the heart of the mountains.
Eager to find this piece of history, he began navigating the rugged landscape. But the journey was far from smooth.
Well, we ran into a slight problem already. Just started to turn onto this trail to go up the mountain, and there is a tree blocking this. Don't know how long this has been here.
A fallen tree blocked his initial route, forcing a manual clearance before he could continue.
Currently making our way up this almost 20-mile trail into the mountains that hopefully leads us to the fire lookout. I have no idea. We're just kind of hoping for the best. But man, this trail that we're on is much more narrow than the trail that goes up to our cabin. So really wish I had some clippers. It'd be easy if I was in like a Jeep or something, but my truck is a bit wider. It's
going to be quite the tight squeeze.
The path ahead was narrow, overgrown, and demanding. Conditions that pushed both his vehicle and his endurance to the limit. For hours, Tommy drove through steep trails, only to face locked gates, dead ends, and rough switchbacks.
Bad news. I have no idea why, but there is a gate in the middle of this and it is locked. So we can't get around. Not ideal. So I think we might have to go back down the mountain and take an alternate route. Which I don't even know. It's like blocking people from getting to their cabins and such as well. But when we were backing out, the bumper got stuck on something and this whole thing flew off and we put it back on. But it's totally broken, ruined. So
at the third time's the charm saying comes true here. If so, I might really start to believe it. It's been a little bit of a defeating day, but I think I have a good feeling about this. We'll see. I really want to see it. I really want to go camp at this lookout, but if not, we'll have to conquer it in another video. But I have hopes it's going to work out here. We are about 7 hours into looking for this watchtower now, and we are 8 miles into this, if you can even call it a road, in the backcountry, and we just came across what seems like an old home.
His vehicle sustained damage, and progress was repeatedly delayed. Still, his determination didn't waver. After nearly 7 hours of searching, he came across something unexpected: the ruins of an old homestead.
Here's the first structure that's closest to the so-called road, but it looks like from the outside this would maybe be a well house. Yeah, you got this big jug in here. It's probably the entrance to the well. Kind of crazy, big bird nest up there. Yeah, very interesting stuff.
Curious about the history of this place, I did a little bit of research, and here's all I was able to find. The earliest record of this place was August 16th, 1935. There's no cold hard facts on who actually lived here, but there are a few assumptions. The most obvious being it was the people who lived here that manned the watchtower and spent all of this time up here, considering it was such a hard place to access. While others believe that it was just a family who lived there for decades with zero affiliation to the watchtower. After almost 8 hours, we had arrived. All the things that we had been through the day, from traveling on these so-called roads to battling these high winds.
The site included crumbling structures, a possible well house, and the remains of what seemed to be a home, now reduced to charred rubble. Research traced its earliest mention back to 1935, though its purpose remained unclear. It may have housed the fire tower's original keepers, or perhaps it was a long-isolated family settlement. The full story is still unknown.
I'm gonna walk up this lookout tower for a bit here. I don't know how high I'm gonna go, but we're gonna go up a little ways because it should be a good view. Let's see. Not ideal. These ones are in there though. Now the original plan was to camp at the fire lookout, but after seeing it, it was too run down to do so. So it's an absolutely gorgeous night, so I think once the sun continues to set and it gets too dark for Levi to continue to swim, which if you asked him, that would be never. But we're gonna hang out a little bit more and then go find some dinner, and I think we might find a camp spot somewhere here down.
Eventually, after navigating a difficult stretch of backcountry, Tommy reached the fire lookout. Though the structure was too unstable for camping, he climbed it cautiously and took in the sweeping views. Nearby, he found additional outbuildings, but none were safe enough to stay overnight. Instead, Tommy relocated to a nearby lakeside spot where he planned to set up camp and relax after the demanding day.
All right. The three of us are officially squared away after a long and exhilarating day, but it was a ton of fun. So we're gonna get some good sleep tonight, and I was looking forward to it because we had had such a long day. For some reason, I just had a really interesting feeling in my stomach. Couldn't fall asleep no matter what. So while Sarah and Levi were sound asleep, I laid there for hours. Something odd happened. I heard a car come flying down the road and into the parking lot where we parked so we could set up camp. And we were the only ones parked there. Kind of strange. Now at first, I was just thinking, maybe this is just some kids being kids. No big deal, right? Well, then the car slammed into a tree and took off speeding the other direction before eventually coming to a stop about 50 yards from our tent. And this big dude gets out of the car. He was clearly drunk out of his mind and had no...
As evening fell, the peaceful location offered a moment of rest. His tent was pitched, and he looked forward to a quiet night with his companions, Sarah and their dog, Levi. But as night settled in around 10 p.m., Tommy began to feel uneasy, an instinctive tension that made it hard to sleep. Hours later, his concern was validated when a car suddenly sped into the empty parking area near their camp.
On the horizon rolling into town. Now my fear was that for some reason, when those storms hit, he was going to get up and start wandering around. I don't know why, but that's just what I felt, and I couldn't shake the feeling. At this point, it's now past 2 in the morning, and I came to the tough decision to let's just pack up camp and get back in the truck before the storm hits. So and the storms hit. Thunder, lightning, hail, rain. I mean, it was coming down. And then it's 3 in the morning. I'm looking over some of the footage that I had just captured that day, that you guys just watched. And when all of a sudden, Sarah just said my name. I looked up, and he was standing directly in front of our truck, in the pouring rain, in the hail. Now he eventually walks by our truck, and I peel out of there and just drive up to the top of the camp where there's a rest station and bathrooms. And we kind of saw that they pumped their brakes as they were driving off and swerved around something, which was strange. When out of the darkness, about a half a mile from where all this originally happened, here he comes, walking down the middle of the street, right back at us. If we'd never got out of the tent, but luckily, we didn't hang around to find out. We ended up calling the park rangers again. They finally came out, and I believe they picked him up, and thankfully, nothing bad happened that night.
The vehicle slammed into a tree, reversed, and came to a stop uncomfortably close to their tent. A man, clearly intoxicated, stumbled out. Tommy remained hidden, observing the situation and eventually contacting local rangers, who, unfortunately, didn't respond. The man lingered in the area, disappearing for nearly an hour before reappearing near their vehicle. Storms were beginning to roll in, and with the unsettling presence nearby, Tommy decided to break camp around 2 a.m. By 3 a.m., the weather had turned severe. Thunder, hail, and lightning. As Tommy reviewed his camera footage from earlier in the day, Sarah noticed movement. Looking up, they saw the same man standing in the storm, directly in front of their truck. He would have had to walk through their former camp to reach that point. They quickly drove to a safer location at a rest station uphill. Later that night, they saw the man again, this time walking straight down the road toward them from the darkness, nearly half a mile from the original encounter. Thankfully, park rangers finally arrived and reportedly apprehended the individual. Nothing more came of the night, but it was a chilling reminder that the most dangerous elements of camping aren't always environmental. While fire towers and forgotten homesteads carry historical intrigue, the real threat in this story came not from nature, but from an unpredictable human encounter. It's a stark reminder that outdoor safety isn't just about weather or terrain, but also situational awareness and trusting your instincts. What if Tommy hadn't acted on that uneasy feeling? If he'd stayed in the tent that night, would the outcome have been the same? Sometimes it's not the places we explore, but the people we unexpectedly encounter that leave the strongest impression. The next unsettling story comes from Cursed Urban, a YouTube channel that specializes in uncovering the darker side of urban exploration. The channel is known for venturing into abandoned buildings, haunted sites, and documenting strange phenomena tied to the paranormal. On July 9, 2025, while camping alone in a remote wooded area, Dan begins a nighttime investigation. Almost immediately, things take a disturbing turn. What begins as a peaceful solo trip quickly becomes something else entirely.
Can't make something happen, but I don't know. I'd chill out by the fire for a bit, and probably go to bed here a little while, and maybe get up in the night and do some more investigating. Not probably. We will for sure. We got to get some more answers. Definitely. All right, guys. Oh, in the tent, pretty bare bones camping tonight. I use a sleeping bag more as a sleeping mat because it is just entirely too hot to have it any other way. The ground is nice and cool, so I got that going for me at least. Oh man, got a fresh battery in the camera, that run, and we'll see what happens. But man, dude, I am hot. I am beat. I think I'm gonna sleep good tonight once I cool down a little bit. But all right, guys, I'm gonna lay down. So good night, and we'll see you at 3 a.m. Hey Todd, do you happen to be outside out by my tent right now?
No man, I'm just sitting at home.
Alright, well I was just sleeping and somebody just walked up with a flashlight. I don't know where they are. They just walked up with a flashlight.
Maybe it might be like a lost hiker or something, you know. Property is connected out to those woods.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't hear them anymore.
Okay, good. Well, if they show up, just give me a call.
Yo, dude, dude, somebody's out there. Somebody's out there.
Oh shit. Okay, alright, just hang tight. I'm on my way.
Dude, they're doing something to the tent. Hey! Dude, yeah, get out. Dude, get out here. Go. Dude.
I'm on my way.
Alright, alright, thanks. Hey, who's out there? Yo, what the Oh, what is that? Oh, what is that smell, dude? Hello?
As Dan prepares for bed, strange sounds begin to emerge from the woods surrounding his tent. Faint whispers drift through the darkness. A voice appears to call his name. Then comes a chilling, animal-like howl, one that Dan suspects may be connected to Dogman folklore. Despite trying to keep the evening relaxed, the atmosphere begins to shift. The stillness of the forest feels increasingly oppressive, and Dan decides to rest for a few hours before continuing his exploration later in the night. But as he lies in his tent trying to sleep, he's abruptly awakened by the sound of footsteps outside. A bright light flashes against the fabric of the tent. Someone is out there. Unsure of who it might be, he calls a friend to check if they've come by, but they confirm they're nowhere near the location. Moments later, the situation escalates. The presence outside doesn't go away. The sound of movement continues, and the tent fabric begins to shift. Something, or someone, is actively approaching.
Who's out here? Dude, there's 100. Show yourself now. Holy sh! Yo, you gotta be kidding me. Dude, whoever this is, dude, they just sprayed my entire tent down with lighter fluid. And I'm covered in it now. Look at that. They literally sprayed the entire tent down with lighter fluid. And that, dude, they were gonna light it up. Yo, dude, they were going to light the tent on fire. And I like scared them away. Or I don't know.
As Dan gathers himself, he notices an overwhelming chemical odor. Stepping outside, he makes a horrifying discovery. The entire tent has been sprayed with lighter fluid. Even more alarming, the person responsible is now gone, having fled into the darkness. But they left the bottle behind, suggesting they were moments away from setting the tent ablaze. Dan immediately contacts the authorities, shaken but unharmed. What was meant to be a simple solo camping trip turned into a brush with real danger, one driven not by the supernatural, but by something far more unpredictable. While some might interpret the strange sounds and whispers as paranormal, the presence of the lighter fluid points to a very real threat. Whether it was a disturbed individual, a random act of cruelty, or a targeted attempt, the fact remains. Not every danger in the woods comes from myths. Some are terrifyingly human. Was this an isolated act of vandalism, or was Dan being watched long before he set up camp? And if he hadn't woken up when he did, how differently might this story have ended? Tonight's footage comes from Exploring the Unknown, a paranormal and adventure YouTube channel run by a duo who travel to eerie and often isolated locations across the Midwest, particularly in Illinois. On June 17, 2023, they ventured into the remote woods of Michigan, intending to spend the night camping. What followed was an unnerving experience that neither of them expected.
Someone gave us some firewood.
This is our normal spot, right?
Yep. Well,
What?
just all the stars.
Turn off your lights.
It is like quiet as well.
Nothing inside.
There's literally nothing. It could be us by that. Wait. You hear that? Yeah. Give me the spotlight.
Don't shine until you're absolutely sure you know where the thing is.
I don't know if you guys hear that, but there's something crunching over there. Do you still hear it?
It keeps thudding. Ew.
What?
Fury kind of mouth.
Upon arrival, they noticed something unusual. Both their main camera and GoPro began malfunctioning, despite operating reliably in much harsher environments before. This interference was the first indication that something wasn't quite right. As they pulled into their usual campsite, the forest around them was disturbingly still. There was no wind, no wildlife, not even the sound of insects. A silence so complete it felt unnatural. Moments later, the quiet was broken by the sound of heavy footsteps, crunching slowly through the underbrush nearby. The duo became increasingly on edge as the sounds persisted, shifting around them in the darkness. The stillness of the woods was so extreme, they could hear even the slightest movement. It wasn't just quiet, it was void of life. The atmosphere grew more unsettling by the minute.
I don't know what I think.
Like every spooky Mr. Nightmare story I've ever heard ever is like, I stopped and I realized I couldn't hear a single thing, not even a single bird.
Literally.
Like, I can't hear a single thing, not even the grass is moving.
Like, literally, guys, without exaggeration. Like, I know you guys heard it, but
Not a single, except for maybe one singular deer hiding somewhere. It didn't sound like a deer. Like, it sounded maybe like a possum could be scrunching around, but it's just, it makes me nervous that there's absolutely no sound anywhere. Like,
now, granted, it is cold, but we did see deer out.
well, and all winter at my mom's house, you hear birds chirping in the bush all year,
Yeah.
no matter what time of day. Now, I know that's a couple hours away, so the birds there might be a little different than the birds here. Part of me, I won't lie, kind of wants to sleep in the car. Partly because I'm so tired, I don't want to set the hammock. Partly because it makes me nervous that I can't hear a single thing.
Like, literally.
Like, not even a single leaf rustling. Yet, it's chilly, and I know just a little bit above us, there's bound to be wind.
Like, it is deathly quiet here. That's very eerie. Look left. It's illuminated by the moonlight.
Well, oh, wait, listen. I thought I heard something, maybe not. What do you think?
I think that's not a good sign. I think that roadblock, this.
So what are we doing?
Not staying here.
Yeah, but where are we? You have to put your key in your door. No, you have to put your key in your door. Oh. If the car is locked with key fob.
Ultimately,
With no birds, no rustling leaves, and no wind despite cold temperatures, they debated their options. Setting up hammocks now seemed less appealing. Sleeping in the car began to feel like the safer choice. But the overwhelming silence, paired with the sense that something, or someone, was out there, led them to consider abandoning the site altogether.
we decided to leave that neck of the woods simply because if you know anything about the woods, you should know rule number one is if it is quiet to the point where you can hear yourself blink, you need to leave immediately. As we're leaving, as we're pulling out of that area, me and Katana, we were just kind of talking about, you know, what it could be, and I didn't really know, but as we're driving, I'm looking around and I realized that we weren't alone. Reciprocated.
Like, if you're not invading what?
What do you think?
What?
There are prints here.
I need you to vocalize these things.
Like
what? Like bunny?
Like human prints.
Like barefoot or shoe?
Like shoe, but like why the f you walking, bro?
Like you just got up to pee.
No. Like these motherfuckers actually like walking all the way down there. That's what I'm talking about. But right, that's what I'm saying. Once we got to the sandpit area, we just started unpacking everything and set up camp for the night, and that was it.
Eventually, they made the decision to leave the area. As experienced outdoorsmen, they recognized a critical rule of the forest. When everything goes silent, completely silent, something is off. Whether it's predators, weather shifts, or worse, that kind of unnatural hush is rarely harmless. While driving away, the unease lingered. Then came confirmation of their suspicions. Along a stretch of snow-covered ground, they spotted fresh human footprints, heading directly into the woods from a nearby road. The tracks weren't animal, and they weren't theirs, Someone else had been nearby, moving silently through the same forest. Ultimately, they reached a different location, unpacked, and set up camp elsewhere. But the earlier encounter remained fresh in their minds. Some might attribute the silence to natural causes, cold weather, nocturnal patterns, or seasonal shifts. But equipment malfunction, unseen movement, and the presence of unexplained footprints suggest otherwise. Could they have crossed paths with someone deliberately hiding in the woods? Or was there something else affecting the environment that night? If they hadn't left, what would have happened when they fell asleep in that dead silent forest? Was someone already watching, waiting? In the wild, silence isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it's the loudest warning you'll ever hear. That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.